Hi, I'm Hannah from Sets and Reps. Today we're going to be doing a 15-minute lower body mobility routine focusing on the hips. Get yourself seated into a comfortable position with your feet about a foot away from you. Hug your legs and start rolling back through the spine, using your arms as an anchor. Come up so your chest is nearer the thighs, and then roll back again through the spine to feel the stretch behind your shoulders. Repeat 5 times. Release the hands from this position. Put both hands behind you with the fingers pointing away from you. Feet are together and gently drop the knees to one side, and then use your core to bring the knees back up to center and repeat on the other side. Try to keep your chest proud and shoulders away from the ears. Use the hands to push away from the mat for extra stability. Don't worry too much if your knees don't go all the way down to the floor at the moment. Just take some nice deep breaths and only go as far as your mobility will allow. Scoot yourself up into a seated position. You're going to be sitting up nice and proud. Feet are flexed and in a position placed just outside of hip width, and we're going to turn to the side into a 90-90 position. Don't worry if the knees don't touch the floor on the first reps or even through any of the reps. It's all good. We'll just keep going and go as far as your mobility can allow. Pivot on the heels, keeping the feet flexed, and then turn to the other side. Chest is proud, hands are pushing away from the floor for stability. Keep repeating this movement. You can place a yoga block underneath your butt just to elevate yourself if you're finding the 90-90 position a little bit too challenging at the moment. Scoot back to center. We're going to be stretching our left glute first. Sorry, I did forget to film this variation, but you can have the bottom leg, which is your right leg, straight out in front of you if you need some support. You can also sit on a yoga block to further reduce the range. Anchor your top knee into the pit of your elbow. You're using your right arm to cradle your left leg here. Have your chest up nice and tall, use your hand for support, and try to get your chest to the thigh if you can. As you can see here, I've given myself a little bit of grace on the first rep just as I get warmed up. Keep the shoulders away from the ears, and to deepen the stretch, you can open up your chest, turning at the torso, and your eye line will naturally follow behind you. Turn back to center and then switch on the other side. Here is a view of the opposite leg. Try to make sure that your hip stays down and in contact with the floor. Again, use your elbow as an anchor to hold up your knee for a passive stretch here. Breathe deeply and then turn your chest away from the top knee if you'd like a deeper stretch. Turn back to center and unravel the legs until you're back in a seated position. Lay down on your back with your feet about 30 centimeters away from you, soles of the foot flat on the floor. Hands are out beside you for support. Bring your right knee up towards the chest, cross the right leg over the right knee. The knee on the right side is pressing away from you. You should feel a stretch on your glutes and outer hip muscles on the right side here. Have your arms out in a T position as wide as you can for stability, and slowly bring the top foot down towards the left side. Only go as far as your mobility allows. You can stay in the original start position if this is too intense for you. If your shoulder blades start coming off the floor as you bring the foot down, I'd also recommend staying in the start position and just working on that initial stretch. Use your abs to come up to center and gently rock in and out of this position, keeping the core stable throughout the movement. For a progression, bring your bottom leg closer to your chest, wrap your hands underneath the thigh just up by the knee, and slowly pull the leg in towards you. Make sure that your top leg keeps pushing away from you. This is called the figure 4 stretch. Unravel the legs and do the same on the other side, starting to slowly do rocks and then progressing if you'd like to. Keep trying to actively push your top knee away from you to try and keep that 90-degree angle with the top leg. Bring the bottom leg up towards you for your progression, or stay in the previous position. Remember to keep breathing deeply throughout the stretches to enable yourself to go a little bit deeper if it's available to you. How does this stretch feel compared to the other side? Do you have one side which is a little bit easier to stretch than the other? Unless it's causing you any significant pain, it's not generally a problem. However, I'd always recommend speaking to a professional in your area if you've got any concerns. Slowly roll onto your side and press yourself up into a seated position. We're going to come up onto our knees. You can put a towel or roll up the mat so it's on your back knee if your floor is a little bit too hard. Bring your legs into two 90-degree angles into a short lunge position like so. You're going to squeeze your glutes and press your hips forward. This will intensify the stretch on the quadricep of the bottom leg, the one where the shin is on the floor. Do reps of these, a little glute squeeze, pressing hips forward, and keep repeating this motion. How's your alignment? You want your bottom back knee in line with your hips, in line with your shoulders, in line with your ears. Bring the arm, which is the same size as the bottom leg, up towards the ceiling. Engage your abs, squeeze your glutes, hips tucked under, and gently do a side bend over to the opposite side. Try to keep the glutes squeezed and hips pressing forward as you do your side bends. Core is active for stability. Squeeze the abs as you pull yourself back up to center after you've done your side bend. Sorry that you can't see my arm here. Frankly, I don't have quite enough room to do this, but here we are. We're trying our best, even if our best is sometimes mediocre. Bring your front foot out one step. You can use yoga blocks here, holding one in each hand for stability if you need to. Squeeze your glutes, hips tucked under, just as we were in our short lunge. Here we're trying to actively pull our legs apart and press ourselves down towards the floor. Keeping our squeezed glute solid ab position, press off the front foot to bring yourself back up to the start position. And keep repeating this movement, pressing down towards the floor, pulling the legs apart and pushing off the front foot to come back to center. Now you're deep in your last rep into that nice lunge. Place both hands on the inside of the front foot. You can have your hands on yoga blocks for a little bit of reduction in range if you need to. Tuck your back foot under. Your wrists, elbows and shoulders are completely in line. Your eyes are looking down to the floor, head is in neutral. Press through the heel of the back foot and draw the quadriceps up. Try and straighten out the back leg as much as you can. We're going for reps, so bend the knee and snap, draw quadriceps up, nice straight leg. Let me know in the comments if you got that reference. Keep bending the knee and then straighten. From here, I want you to lift the front foot and turn it out to the side. You're resting outer edge of your foot and your heel. Bring the hands slightly in front of you. We're going to try and bend the elbows down towards the ground, keeping elbows and shoulders stacked, and then pressing off the floor with our hands to come back up to our start position. The aim here is to have our hips square to the floor, so that means both hip bones will be roughly both facing the floor. Next, we're going to frame our front foot, turn the toes back in until your foot is facing straight, and start shifting that front foot over to the side. Here now we're going to try and do pigeon pose. So our front leg, ideally we want that in a right angle. The back leg is out straight, toes pointed. You can put a yoga block underneath your hips here for support. Not everyone can get into this position, and that's fine, we'll adapt. If it is available to you, you can bend your arms so you're resting on your forearms and having a nice deep stretch in this position. In this exercise, it's better to have your front leg at a nice right angle rather than bent straight in towards you. That is a slightly different stretch. We're trying to target the outer hips as much as we can here. You can have yoga blocks to make your front foot at that right angle, and you'll just be a bit higher up. Hey, it doesn't matter, folks. No one's watching you. Just keep trying to do this stretch with the front leg in a nice, lovely right angle. You'll get better the more you practice, I promise. We're going to slowly press off our hands and bring ourselves up to center, coming gently out of that position. Bend the front knee and then push the hips back into child's pose. Widen the knees, hands are nice and straight, and just wiggle the hips in this position. Wiggle, wiggle. Roll up through the spine to come back up to center. We're going to repeat that on the other side. Starting with our short lunge, hips tucked under, legs at 90 degrees. Squeeze glutes, we're doing our reps here. Back knee, hips, shoulders and ears all stacked in one beautiful line. You should feel that stretch on the front of the quadricep of the leg that is shin down. Raising the same hand as our back leg up into the sky, nice straight line, biceps to ears. Starting with our side bends here, coming to the opposite side, abs are engaged, using our core to draw us back up to center. Don't forget to keep those hips tucked under, glutes squeezed. Using our core to come up to center, bring your hand down and the front foot is going to walk one step out. Going into our long lunge now, pull the legs apart and press the hips down towards the floor. Once you've finished your rep there, press off the front foot to come back up to the start position and keep repeating that motion. Lizard pose coming up next. In at the bottom of our long lunge, we're going to bring both hands in the inside of our front foot. Tuck the back toe under, engage the quadriceps, draw the knee up and press through the back heel, straightening that leg into a lovely long line. Keep repeating those positions for a few more reps. Lizard pose coming up next. Turn your front foot out to the side, resting on the outer edge of your foot. Bend the elbows if it's available to you. If not, stay up on the blocks or just with hands on the floor. Take some deep breaths, try and get the hips as square as you can towards the floor, and hold here. Pigeon pose next. Press off the arms and bring the foot into center. Frame the foot with both hands and keep bringing the foot across your body now. Remember, you can put a yoga block under your hips here if you need to, but we want to try and get our front leg at a nice right angle position. The front foot is flexed. Try to square your hips as much as you can. This is my tighter side personally, so I have to work harder to get them squarer. Sometimes put a yoga block under there just to help me ease into those first few reps. I'm trying to actively pull the hip of the extended leg down towards the floor. Breathe deeply and see if you can get a few more millimeters of mobility here in your practice today. Slowly start to come up from that position and unravel the front legs. Feet together, knees wide, press the hips back into child's pose. Take an inhale and exhale. Keep repeating this. Just let yourself relax in this child's pose position for a few moments. I'll take the time now to say thanks for being a legend and joining me in today's mobility class. Please let me know how you got on in the comments. I'd be happy to help with any questions, and send to you one of your mates who you think could do with a little bit of loosening up in this hip department. You've been stretching today with Hannah from Sets and Reps. See you next time.